What's going on, everybody? It's Chris Classic dropping another video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also to subscribe to the C3 Wrestling channel for exclusive wrestling matches. Next week I have my wrestling show, first one of the year, Highway to Sell. Start time is 1 o'clock, doors open 12:30. Hammond, Indiana, Gene Shepherd Community Center. Hope to see some of you guys there. In the previous video, at the end I talked about the two versions of Brock Lesnar, which is Here Comes the Pain and Suplex City. Now, to get this out the way, the Here Comes the Pain Brock Lesnar is also the next big thing. So there's not like three versions of Brock. I'm putting both versions into one because it was the same. That reign went from 2002 into 2004 when he left the company. And then we're also going to talk about Suplex City Brock Lesnar, which is basically 2012 until now, question mark, with all these rumors that are going on. It's just a small, quick analysis, how I feel about it and which one I like better. With Here Comes the Pain Brock Lesnar, I think that was just an awesome run with Brock Lesnar. How he came in and demolished people, the triple power bomb sometimes, like how he came in, it was just like, oh my god, who is this guy? And it was to the point to where I used to have SmackDown 2 Know Your Role on the PlayStation 1, and I was like, gee, this guy is a beast. And I really created the guy on it, you know, with the Creator Wrestler. It was like a big thing back in the day, and I made him. It didn't look like him though, I will say that. But they had a close move to the F5, and it was called the, it was like a neck breaker. I believe Tess used to do it. But instead of rotating all the way to the side, he would rotate like halfway, like across. So, that's how big of an influence Brock Lesnar was to me at the time. Like, I grew up watching WCW, and he kind of reminded me of like Goldberg in a way. So it was like, okay, this dude, you could tell this dude was going to be a superstar. And when he wrestled, you can tell how intense he was with the Ruthless Aggression era. With so many stars at the time, but you know, he stood out more than everyone else because he was just like the bigger guy. He was agile. You could tell that he could wrestle. Now I remember when SmackDown Here Comes the Pain came out, how big that was. And I remember going back into the Creator Wrestler phase, a lot of us would do the grapple where if your opponent punches you, you do the clothesline. I mean, I don't know if it's still in the game now, but I used to pick that for my wrestler every time because it was just a great move, just like, oh, punch, and then you just do a clothesline. So when we're talking about a guy in basically 3 years they put a rocket on him and he just took off and he went with it. And I think the guy did a great job. I think Brock did a great job in the small run he had. The first run, he went through guys like The Rock, Kurt Angle, Undertaker, and regardless if it's the American Badass Undertaker, like, you gotta think that there's not a lot of superstars that had the Undertaker's number. Even going into the Suplex City phase, he still had the Undertaker's number with defeating the streak, unfortunately. So when I think of Here Comes the Pain Brock, I think of the matches he had with Kurt Angle and Eddie Guerrero. I remember the Shooting Star Press that gave him a concussion and he still finished the match. I was very inspired by this guy, even being the youngest WWE champion. Like, the matches that he put on, it was just stellar. It was just like, oh my god, did you see what this guy can do? Like, you're not used to seeing a big guy move like that. And he was very impressive. He was just very dominant. His last match with that run was him versus Goldberg. A lot of people read the dirt sheet, so they knew that this was like their last match. So I don't think people gave it a chance. For what it was, I thought the match was okay. I've watched it more than once, I will admit. I think that they tried to do we're beast and we want to show you guys that we can wrestle. It could either be that or I'm just going to wrestle and I don't care. Like, it kind of gave those two different vibes. So when he left, it was the rumors of him going to try for football, and he did, and then unfortunately he got cut. So between this time, he went to IWGP, he won the belt there, then he feuded with Kurt there and lost to Kurt. Like, the guy's still making a name for himself in pro wrestling. Like, at the time, I didn't know much about it, but I thought he was just done with it, period. Then he went to MMA, and he had 9 fights. And I'm also including the one he did when he went against Mark Hunt while he was going back and forth with WWE. You know, his first match didn't go that well. He was actually doing good, but he just had a rookie mistake. He got caught by Frank Mir, submission specialist. Going into that, he wound up being UFC heavyweight champion. And man, did he finally whopped Randy Couture. The guy's making a name for himself. He was first WWE world champion and also the UFC, so you're on top of both worlds. So I've always believed that if you didn't watch WWE, you probably watch UFC, or the other way around, or you probably watch both. Me, I watch both. So you're already opening yourself to the masses of being a superstar because you were just big and he was basically dominant in MMA until the first that word, you know what I'm trying to say. I'm not even going to embarrass myself by saying it. When that condition came, you know, I think it kind of derailed him, but then I also noticed that he had weaknesses with MMA, that he couldn't take a punch. His MMA record is 5-3-1. That's very interesting because he's going to be in the Hall of Fame with only 9 fights. And you have people that's fought 20, 30, that worked so hard, but this guy was just a top box office draw. He took over the world. There was only 9 fights. If he wants to fight now, everyone's going to look. Going into Suplex City Brock, which was 2012 on to now. They had, he came back and he was in a feud with John Cena. This was John Cena. He lost to The Rock and he wanted to go against The Rock again. And then Brock's music plays out of nowhere. It's just like, oh my God, like, this dude is really back. Comes back, beats up John Cena. They have a program. By the way, this was, like, to me, one of my favorite matches from Suplex City Brock, to be honest. Everybody thought John Cena was going to die in that match. They had the packages. They showed the kids with the clothes and the pictures with John Cena's and everything like that. That was a great match. So then he wrestles a few more times. You know, he comes in and out. You know, he can do that kind of stuff. He's Brock. He goes in and out. You can tell he has more of a MMA-inspired arsenal and how he carries himself with the shorts like he would wear in UFC. He has sponsors. That's something that I haven't really seen with a WWE superstar to still have Jimmy John's and all kind of stuff. The logos. I really wish, you know, WWE would allow more of that, to be honest. He had the Kimura lock. Looked devastating. Broke a couple arms with it. Very good. Like I said, it was very interesting, but you could tell it was different. You could tell it was a payday, but for WWE, that's what they want. They want that money. They want that draw. So you could tell it was a few moves, and then I believe it was Roman Reigns. Suplex City was born with the German suplexes, and people would count the tens and dozens of German suplexes he would do. He would have the belt when he demolished John Cena, and then it was just like you will see him or you won't see him, and a lot of people were upset. But me, being a wrestler and an observer, you know that they were protecting him because we would get bored with them fast. Unfortunately, I kind of got bored with him a little bit quicker because of the matches that he was putting on. But like I said, like, it was still intense Brock Lesnar. And I think that WWE tried their best to protect him, but he didn't need protection because he was already the baddest man on the planet. Like, he made a name for himself in 2002. He made a name for himself in Japan. He made a name for himself in MMA. Like, he's a very decorated athlete, and a lot of people do not want to give him credit. I will always give him credit, but the problem was with Suplex City, even though he was a huge draw, for me, the matches were very repetitive. It was either going to be a few minutes, or it's going to be a lot of Germans and a lot of F5s. speaking of the Roman Reigns match, it was like I felt that when I was a kid and my brother, we used to play the SmackDown games. We used to put all the finishers up to all the way up to 5. We can only do 5 at one point, and we just hurry up and button mash and we try to hurry up and see who do the finisher. Call it the finisher fest, and I felt that that's what happened with Brock Lesnar. So a lot of people criticize them for that because it's like, okay, well, what else are you going to do? But it's like I said in a previous video, when you're the #1 company, you can do whatever you want. You don't have to listen to people. People who don't even watch wrestling will watch the wrestling because it was Brock Lesnar, because they were UFC fans. They might not have known that he wrestled in 2002. The Here Comes the Pain Brock. They know him as the butt kicker from UFC because of what he did to Randy Couture, to Shane Carwin, to the rematch with Frank Mir. They know him for that. So that's what I'm saying even about the draw. If the guy wanted to come in and just do the heel toe, people are still watching because it's Brock Lesnar. So for him winning Money in the Bank and multiple titles, that's just part of the territory because you're trying to get new fans. Like if you already have old fans, you know they're coming back. But when you have new fans, that means you're making more money. Going back into the repetitive thing, what are we saying when we have movesets as wrestlers? Now, like I said, I personally don't like it because of how spread out the matches were or short they were. But at the same time, are you going to tell this man do something different? Can you outdraw him? If you cannot outdraw somebody, then you can't really be mad at them. You know, a lot of people. I will say this: what I don't like is the rumors that he has better matches with people who he likes, and it's like, it kind of sucks because part of wrestling is sometimes you do have to suck it up and go against people that you don't like. Just have a great match and have a great story. So it's like we're saying we want to see Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar at this year's WrestleMania. Does he like the guy? Like, we have to think about that. Does he like him to put on a great match? Another thing with getting kind of tiresome with Suplex City was the Goldberg factor. Goldberg came in and he did spears and jackhammers. And then you also have Brock Lesnar that's doing Germans and F5s and Gamoras from time to time. I think that kind of like slowed it down a little bit. So now it's like you definitely wasn't going to see Brock more often because you have Goldberg that'll come in and wrestle for a few minutes and things like that. So it's like, okay, you see what's going to happen. It's either going to be Brock or Goldberg. If you win that belt, you're going to eventually go against one. So I can even see Bobby Lashley, if he's keeping the belt long enough, to go against Goldberg. I think that's just like a test thing to do now. They're like gatekeepers, kind of good gatekeepers, not just, oh, I'm just here to do this and that. Going into both versions of Brock Lesnar, I personally, I like Here Comes the Pain more than Suplex City, but I admire Suplex City because of all the accolades that came with it. Like, this is a legit dude, and he can come in and he can do a few moves, and that's all he needs. He's an MMA fighter, he's a shoot fighter. He can do these kind of things. But me, the wrestler in me, I liked Here Comes the Pain better. Now, the bigger draw, obviously, is the Suplex City, Brock Lesnar. He doesn't have to do much, but he can draw. He doesn't have to show up every day, but he can draw. And that's kind of the beautiful thing of wrestling when you think about it. The biggest thing is sometimes we want to draw because we want people to spend their hard-earned money to watch us perform. And Brock has that factor. I don't think it ever left. Regardless if he has passion in it or not, I don't think he has as much passion as he did in 2002. People are going to watch. And it's just like we hope and pray that he likes the person that he goes against. So it's like, I can admire both, but I would want to see a version of Here Comes the Pain go against Bobby Lashley, if that's even possible. But like I said, going back into which one did I prefer, it will always be Here Comes the Pain, because I felt like he had something to prove. Now he's built as the guy as you have to beat him to prove something. Thank you for watching the video. Make sure you subscribe. This is Chris Classic. Let's take it home.